Hello and welcome. My name is John Valentine, and in this video I'll be teaching you how to fully land clients, whether it is as a business, as a freelancer, or anything that you need in order to land your clients. Well, these are going to be the topics that I will be covering today. I'll be talking about personalizing your pitch, creating samples, how to write a cold pitch, writing cold pitches, and a follow-up. And at the end I'm going to give you some final thoughts and some final tips and tricks, so make sure to stick around until the end for those extra tips. Definitely something to do if you're wanting to write a successful pitch and just get your clients. So other than that, if you're ready, let's get right into this first topic here. So one of the best things to do when you want to land clients, of course, you're going to have some kind of pitch. And what you also want to do is you want to personalize your pitch. You want to write custom emails for each client that you're trying to get. Of course, you can have some general templates and you can copy and paste to an extent, but take the extra time to personalize it. Personalize the names, the subject line, specific figures and numbers and statistics that you can list that shows you researched the company. If you say something like, oh, I see that you don't have that much of an online presence, let me help you with this website. I'm an email marketer. I've worked with this company for the past 2 years and I've helped them increase their direct sales through email by 34%. Well, if they're looking for something like email marketing, then that's a great way to attract their attention, and definitely something to do when you're personalizing that pitch. And then you could say something like, oh, I see that you don't really do any email marketing, and then your main source of marketing is from social media and stuff like that. So you can definitely do some kind of research. It doesn't have to be hours long. This can be done in a few minutes if you just go on their website and dig a little bit. This can be done in 5-10 minutes, whatever, how efficient you are. But sometimes people think that researching companies that you're cold emailing has to take hours, but that's not necessarily true if you do want to make that sale. And even if you want to write a lot of cold emails, because that's what you're probably going to have to do in order to get clients, doing a little bit of research for each company is definitely advised. So definitely something to keep in mind. And also, just in general, when you do have your pitch and your cold emails, you want to keep it short and concise. There are specific lengths that always do well, depending on your industry and something like that. If you have a full-on pitch, then something like 10 slides is a good idea. You don't want 45 slides. People are not going to pay attention. They don't care. It's just they're going to lose track of what you're actually talking about. So keep it short and concise. Like always, make it easy for people to digest a lot of information. So the shorter the better, but make it long enough as well. An introduction and compliment the brand, product, company. Be like, I've seen that you've done business here and here, whatever like that. You can have a good introduction and maybe even compliment their product in that sense. So definitely something to do as well. I see that you've grown 8. Let's say if it's a physical location, you can say, oh, I've seen that you've added 10 new retail stores this quarter. I do email marketing, and I've helped this retail store grow their physical sales just by 34% through email marketing. If you're interested, let me know, something like that. Of course, this is very crudely explained here, but you get the general gist of it. So that's definitely something to do as well. Next, explain why you're a good fit. Link your portfolio or in your samples. Explain what you are and who you are, but also show what value you can provide. Like I said, you can say, oh, I'm an email marketer, but if you just say, I'm an email marketer and I work for this company, I went to this university, I did this, well, nobody really cares that much about who you are, but they care more about what you can do. So if you say, I'm an email marketer, but then you have to say, and I've helped small businesses grow by 38% through, their optimized websites. I do this. Then you can link, if you're looking for, I'm a graphic designer and I've helped businesses grow their social media following by having these improved graphics. And then you can link your samples if you're looking for, if you want to see some of my work, and then you can link your portfolio or show samples. Whatever it is that you do, you can definitely have to provide some kind of value and basically explain why they should hire you, but also show it in terms of numbers, samples, examples, previous work. And if you don't have any previous work, then show it with just examples that you created. If you're a graphic designer and you never had a client, just show what you can, show off your projects and so on that you've done so far, that you've worked on your samples and so on. Also something to keep in mind. And of course, at the end, sign off with a question to initiate a response and get the conversation flowing. You don't want to just be like, I can help you with that. Well, that's not really a call to action. You want to help some specific question that you have. Something like, if you're interested, check out my website and go for a quote and see how much I would cost you, or if you have, are you available for a phone call at Wednesday at 10 p.m., 10 a.m., something like that. Just a specific call to action, and with a question, something like, have you considered creating a website? If they don't have a website, have you considered increasing your social media presence? Something like that, something specific to gain their attention where they have to respond. Because if you're a business or a freelancer or whatever it is, and you want to land a client, you want something for them, so make it easy for them to respond. If you leave it very open-ended, they don't really know what to do. Think of them as someone that has to be guided as much as possible, because that makes it as easy as possible. And the easier it is, the more likely people are to respond. If it looks like a lot of work for them to be like, oh, now I have to look up his email if I want to respond, now I have to look up his phone, I don't even know his website, where do I go, what do I do? If you leave it too open-ended, people are not going to do that research just because you might have something to offer. You want to have that easy call to action at the end. Like I said, be like, if you want to know more, just respond to this email. If you write them on Instagram, be like, just DM me back on here. If you have a specific website, check out my website, and you can, if you have a straight up product such as a service on their website, you can like check out this product and buy the service that you need, whatever it is that you do. Have an easy call to action and an open-ended question for them to really respond in a specific and direct way in order to close that sale. Now next, you want to create samples, as I've said recently, when you want to link your portfolio and stuff, whatever it is you do. If you do graphic design, if you do financial aid, if you do financial services, if you do website design, if you have marketing portfolios, you do want to create some sort of sample in order to show off your work and what you do and how successful you've been. Think of a sample as your resume if you apply for a job. You want to create niche specific samples as well. If you're a freelance writer and you do sports writing and you cold email a sports website, well, it probably helps if you have some kind of sports background, and it helps if you have some kind of sports examples as well. Or finance, especially for something like finance that's so specialized where you have to have a lot of knowledge. Well, if you want to write for a big finance website, they probably want to know that you know what you're talking about. So link them with some examples of your previous finance writing examples, or beauty and stuff like that. Some things, of course, are a little bit more relaxed, such as specific examples such as beauty. If you just have product reviews and stuff like that, of course you want to know what you're talking about. But something like finance, might need a lot more knowledge. Of course, this might not be true at all for you, but again, this is just examples of something to keep in mind. And if you want to create that kind of writing, of course it helps if you do have those examples. If you don't have specific sports writing examples, that's okay too, of course, but it always helps to have people who are knowledgeable about their specific niche and their industry. And so it helps to understand that industry, and it helps you to not only engage with them as a business, but also create that content on your own. If they tell you to be as creative as possible and so on, and just give you a lot of freedom to do that, you're going to want to know what to do and what works in that industry, because a lot of things differ. Whatever product that you're creating, a website, a finance website might be a little bit more different than a fashion website, and fashion websites might work differently than finance websites. So if you create a very in fashion websites, you probably need a lot of pictures, and in finance you probably need a little bit more writing and some more graphs. So if you create a fashion website with almost no pictures, well, that just looks bad. So you're definitely going to want to know what you're talking about, and it just helps the client to understand that you are a knowledgeable and experienced worker. And so this is definitely a good idea to do that. It also helps get your credibility and authority up, and once you start to get authoritative in that niche, that might actually help you get more jobs in it. Well, if you're write for 3 freelance finance websites, well, if you're going to write the first one, be like, look, I've worked with these big 3 finance websites, that definitely helps your credibility in that niche as well. So definitely something to do. A good idea that you can do, you don't need to, is you can also get someone else to proofread or critique your examples. Be like, oh, this looks good, I wouldn't want to do this, and stuff like that. Maybe a trusted friend, a colleague, preferably someone in the business as well, in the industry. So definitely a good idea to do that. And just remember to put them in a clean and easily digestible format as well. Your website, a professional PDF, something where people don't have to click 8 times to get to. If you just link them your homepage on your website, where there's an about you or your company, and then you have to find something, that's not really that useful. Like I said, make it as easy as possible for the people to digest. So if it's a PDF, just straight up pictures of what you're doing, website examples, project examples, whatever it is that you're doing, so as easily digestible as possible. So when it comes to cold pitch and actually getting clients, something like job boards, for example, are always good. Upwork, Fiverr, Craigslist, something like that. They're a good idea because they're something that you can run in the background. You know, you can create your Fiverr account and put up your Fiverr bids, and then people will contact you once somebody is interested. You don't really have to do a lot of work once you uploaded that. Once you uploaded your Fiverr gig, people are going to contact you. You can't really contact other people. Are you interested in this gig? So these are definitely good ways to do sort of in the background, and list them once you do that. And Upwork and Fiverr, sometimes I feel like people think there's a lot of only cheap work on it, but you can charge anything you want. There's people on Upwork who charge thousands and thousands of dollars per hour or per project and stuff like that. So definitely something to keep in mind as well. This can range from anything, from $5 an hour to $500 an hour. So that's definitely something to do as well, especially in the background, because it sort of works for you once you set it up. The only downside is you do have to pay commissions, of course, but for most of the time they aren't really that big of a deal. So definitely something to do. Then you also want to start cold pitching, as soon as possible. You can charge higher custom rates with your cold pitching, because you don't have to pay commissions and because you're cold pitching yourself, and you can really get to high profile clients through this. Like I said, with the job boards, sometimes it is interpreted to be a little bit cheaper, and of course a lot of the cheaper options always do better because they just is so much competition. But if you start cold pitching by yourself, of course there's still competition, but not as directly, because you can't necessarily compare them. If you go on Fiverr and type in website design, well, 500 people will show up, and they will range from $5 to $500, and people are just going to pick what they like the most. So if you start cold pitching on your own, you start emailing businesses or other company or other people, then you can just start doing really what you want, high profile clients, and you can choose your niche, and you can really do that by yourself. And of course you can also build connections this way, and your reputation. If, like I said before, if you get hired by 3 finance websites, well, if you then write the 4th one, then you can know that your reputation is out there, and you can start to build those connections as well. Someone maybe who works at the other finance website will work for a different company. So definitely something to keep in mind. But just in general, cold pitching to clients yourself through email, through phone calls, or whatever it is that you're doing, how you're cold pitching, is definitely a good idea to keep in mind as well, especially because you can do that while the Fiverr and the job boards and stuff like that run in the background. Well, how to get started on your cold pitching? Well, pick an industry niche and search Google and social media for clients. Well, let's say you do website design and you want to help out, small businesses who do handmade soap or something like that. Well, you can easily find handmade soap stores through Google, and even better through social media. And especially because when you find them through social media, there's probably not a lot of handmade soap Instagram sites with millions and millions of followers. A lot of them probably have a few hundred, a few thousand, whatever. Of course, this will range, but you will find a lot of, especially local businesses, that probably have something like 600 followers, and so if you DM them, they will see that message. A lot of people with 10 million followers will not see your DM that much as people with a lot of fewer followers. So if you have someone with 600 followers, they probably don't get that many messages a day. They probably will still, but it's definitely more available to you, and for you to write them either an email or an Instagram DM. So social media is also a great way to drive sales through that. And then you can also, what you want to do is you want to create an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of clients. Something like that was definitely a good way for you to track the success and the measure of you actually write, because if you have an Instagram account and you DM someone, you will see that message. But if you write an email and you're not sure if you wrote that email before, you can either check your inbox. But if you forgot to do that, or if you don't know if you email them and you just email, it would be quite embarrassing to message somebody multiple times. If it looks like you may not know what you're doing, and it looks a bit unorganized, and it just helps you keep track as well, because you can create that spreadsheet. You can list the companies, then say the date the message got out, then you can maybe mark down the date that you received a message back. Then you can see if you closed that sale, if you didn't close that sale. This will also help you keep track of what works and what doesn't. Maybe you switch up your email newsletter or your cold email, and then you will know, okay, well, after this date I got a lot more clients, so maybe I should stick to this cold email, because prior to March 1st I actually used this cold email and that didn't get me any clients. So this is just a great way to send out some emails and then keep track of them. So send out your personalized pitch, and what you can do is also set a pitch goal every week or month. Be like, I want to pitch 100 clients this week. I want to pitch 25 clients this weekend, stuff like that. So setting specific goals also helps you keep on track, and also just gives you that more, that higher efficiency, and just that need to send out the cold pitch as well. So also definitely something to keep in mind. So let's talk about following up with people. Not following up is definitely one of the biggest mistakes a lot of freelancers or just companies do when they are cold emailing, cold pitching, and stuff like that. Don't forget to follow up, either when they answer or even when they don't answer. Obviously don't be annoying and spam them with 10 emails a day, but sometimes you have to consider that maybe the client didn't even see the first email, or they did see it and forgot to respond, and they actually meant to respond, and then they'll be like, oh, thank you for emailing me, I totally meant to respond, and stuff like that. So there's really not a lot to lose when you follow up. Of course, if you're being annoying and spammy, some people might get annoyed, but if you send one email and then a week later or 2 weeks later you send another email just to follow up, be like, oh, I sent you an email already, if you're not aware, I'm running the sale, or I can help you with this, and stuff like that. You can definitely do that, and if they then answer, well, actually I saw it, I'm not interested, then great, that's okay. And maybe they don't answer again, that's also great. But a lot of the times they might answer and be like, oh, I didn't see that, actually I am interested, or I did see it, I forgot to respond, I am interested, and stuff like that. So there's not that many downsides. It's not like people are going to be like, oh, you emailed me twice already, leave me alone. That might happen like 0.01% of the time, and of course it does happen every now and then, but there's really not that many downsides to not following up and trying again. So try to really stay at it and just send a follow-up email, whatever it is. Maybe you did send your email and they said, oh, I'm interested, and then you sent them an email like, oh, let's talk at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and then they never got back to you. Well, it shows that they are interested at some point, but they just didn't, maybe message you back and wanted to schedule an appointment, and then maybe a few days later or a week later you can be like, hey, you said that you were interested. Of course, make this performance in your own words, but you can say, hey, I thought you were interested. Let's, did you want to schedule a call maybe this weekend? And then be like, oh, yes, I didn't see it, or I meant to follow you back, or I meant to message you back. Let's do it this weekend. Good idea. Stuff like that. A lot of people just get lost. There's not that much, it's not that deep. It's not really that, people maliciously don't answer or hate you or don't want to answer you. Sometimes they literally just forget or get over it or don't even see it, because people get hundreds of emails a day and businesses get hundreds of emails a day. So sometimes don't read too much into it and try to follow up. Of course, if it doesn't work after 2 or 3 emails, then they might just not be interested, and you should probably give up and stop emailing them, because some people might consider it spam, whatever. But definitely following up is a good idea to do. Stay tenacious, show your tenacity. Only a handful of people really follow up, and it does show passion and commitment. But again, don't spam. Just stand out and really create your follow-up emails, similar to the initial email that you sent, and just keep it nice and mannered and stuff like that. And some people might actually appreciate that extra effort. So stand out in a sense, create a portfolio website, have active social media accounts, post client testimonials on the website, show a diverse portfolio, and really just show that you actually want to stand out, and you can use those to your advantage as well when following up, or just in general when cold emailing. I just also wanted to mention it here. And another pro tip is you can be published for free for credibility. For example, if you're a freelance writer and there are magazines who actually charge for writing or stuff like that, maybe you can email and be like, hey, I love your magazine, I'd love to write an article for you, I'll do it free of charge and stuff like that. But then you can put on your email, oh, I've been published by National Geographic, and stuff like that. So emailing people for free is definitely also working for someone for free at some point, of course, it's also a great idea, especially if you're starting out, because it helps you gain credibility and some project examples. I just want to mention that, even though we're talking about following up, but standing out is definitely a great idea to do as well. So definitely something to keep in mind. So last but not least, let's talk about some of these final tips and some final thoughts and some summaries of this video. Remember also, I just wanted to say, believe in yourself. Have that positive mindset. Even if you don't think you can land a client, just send a message anyway. Sometimes people say like, oh, they probably don't work with it anyway. They're way too big. Maybe they're this, they're this. They probably won't even see it. There's really not that much to lose when you send an email. I mean, the email doesn't cost anything. It's free. It's an electronic mail. You don't have to send a post stamp or something like that. So sending emails and messages, stuff like that, is definitely free. Unless you're spamming someone with your messages, you can really hurt your reputation as well. So just think about that. Keep a positive mindset. Always think you can. And sometimes you might not think it works out. People will be, welcome to your email than you might think sometimes. You're like, oh, these guys are not going to see my message anyway, and then a couple days later they might answer, and they might even be interested. So just keep that positive mindset, believe in yourself, and really try your best in that sense. And just also realize that you will face a lot of rejection. A lot of people are not going to respond. A lot of people are going to say no, and some might say yes, but that's totally okay, because at the end of the day, you are wanting something from them. You do want to sell yourself. You want to sell your business. You want to sell your service. Whatever it is that you do, you want to land clients, meaning you want something from them. And not everybody is going to be receptive to that, whether it is because they don't have a budget, or they don't want to, or maybe they just don't like your work. Just face the fact that sometimes that is going to happen, but don't tie yourself down to that with your self-esteem, your business, whatever. Sometimes people don't like your businesses and think, oh, I don't think you're good enough and stuff like that, but then someone else might think you're excellent and pay you way more than you think, or just pay you accordingly, or even just use you as a service. So definitely is something to keep in mind. Anybody who's ever had success will have faced rejection. There has been people who told them that their idea is not going to work, that it's not going to work, that they're not good enough and stuff like that. And as long as you think you are doing well and you know what you're doing, then I think it's definitely a good idea to just remember to believe in yourself, and just realize that you will face a lot of rejection. And finally, but of course, also set goals and measure them and stick to them. Setting specific goals can help you just be more efficient and more proficient in the way that you can actually, land businesses, but also just stay organized and on task. Say something like, I want to pitch 100 people a week. I want to pitch this many. I want to pitch 10 people in the finance industry. I want to pitch 10 people on this and this and this. So definitely trying to set goals, direct specific goals, and measuring them and sticking to them can help you not only become efficient and organized, but also just have a sort of purpose in the sense of knowing what you're doing. Sometimes you might wake up and be like, oh, I don't even know who to email. But if you have a direct goal of, okay, I need to email 20 people today in order to achieve my goal by the end of the week. I need to email 20 people from the finance section and 20 people from the fashion section today in order to do that. So having specific goals definitely helps you stick to them, and also just have that proficient line of sight when you know what you want to do. So definitely just some final tips and tricks. Just keep in mind, follow those tips that I listed earlier. If you want to go back and watch any of the section to repeat that, definitely go to the right here, and you can just navigate from there. But other than that, I really hope you learned a lot and just enjoyed this class. If you did, make sure to put a positive rating on it, and of course also follow this channel and follow my YouTube channel. On this channel, I will be uploading one video a week for all of 2021. I've done so far already, so you can go on my channel and check out all the videos that I've uploaded. All sense of digital marketing and social media marketing, digital business, and so on. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, cold emails, like I said, networking, Clubhouse. I've talked about it all, so definitely check that out on my channel and see if there's any videos that you like. But other than that, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next class. Goodbye.